And blessed to be a part of your day. We're in Caldwell. Cindy, do you want to say anything here?
To be the owner of one of the wineries out in Sunny Slope, and I love that area. And for people, around the area, whether you're from Caldwell or you're from Nampa, that is a beautiful area. If you coming around the corner and going down and looking at those wineries, if you never get to Tuscany in Italy, that is exactly the view that you'll see.
This is the Tuscany of Idaho.
Exactly, and 100%. Not only that, we are totally blessed out here that on top of Lizard Butte, no one has started anything yet about that beautiful cross that's on top of that Lizard Butte out there. So the history out here, whether you stop at any one of the wineries, they're receptive or not.
All right, Cindy, hang on. We're going to have more of your review and commentary on the wines as we move along. By the way, if you're in the Caldwell area and you want to come to the Sunny Slope Wine Trail Festival, we have some ticket vouchers for you as well. The event is sold out. Joining us now is the chairman of the board of the Education Research Institute, Daniel Oliver, on KIDO Talk Radio. Mr. Oliver, good morning.
Good morning.
Good to have you with us. You're with Kevin Miller here. So, Mr. Oliver, what's the state of education today?
Good question. Well, the state of education, as far as we are concerned, is that there's a lot of bias in American history textbooks. I don't suppose there's much bias in mathematics textbooks, but in American history textbooks, there's a lot of bias, basically left-wing bias that presents a picture of America that just isn't true. And we've decided to do something about it. So we've taken one textbook, one of many, we hope, but you have to start somewhere, and we put up we have a website called trueamericanhistory.us, and we have the text of a textbook on the left and a critique of it on the right, so that students who are assigned pages in that textbook can go to our website and check it out and see what the true scoop is instead of the opinions of the authors of the textbook.
Mr. Oliver, obviously you echo the comments of parents in Idaho and across the country. Any advice for parents that have that same frustration where American heroes are vilified and not given their proper historical context?
It's very difficult because most parents, obviously, hardworking, very likely the mother and the father work, and there's not a lot of time for them to become scholars on a whole range of topics and then teach their children. So it's very difficult. I don't really know what they can do. I guess one thing is to try to make sure that the textbooks that are used in the classes are good textbooks, and there are ways to find out which are good books and which are bad books. In a large city, however, I suspect that parents don't have a lot of clout with the school board in order to influence the kinds of textbooks they select. In a smaller town or city, they probably do have clout, and that's worth exercising.
Well, some of the most contentious political and issues I've covered haven't been at the state or local at the local level, but they've been at the school board level. This is truly, all politics are local, and you have these cultural wars going on now that a lot of parents may not be familiar with.
I think that's right. I think and you can't blame them in a way. They're busy people. They're making a living, and they can't spend all their time reviewing textbooks. So it's very difficult. But I think the key probably is to find a representative, some kind of elected official who is on their side, and get together and try to get him to go to battle for having better textbooks in the classes. They can't do it themselves. They don't have the time. They don't have the means. But they do have elected officials, and that's what elected officials are for. So I suspect the parents should get together and try to persuade their elected officials to do battle.
Daniel Oliver with us, the chairman of the Board of Education and Research Institute here at Kevin Miller in the Morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Can you give us some examples of some of the liberal biases?
Well, yes. We have 300 of them, And
Yeah, I'm with you. There's so many, unfortunately.
so it's hard to. But let me see if I can find one for Alger Hiss. The book describes Alger Hiss, and I'm not going to be able to find it. It says,
Well, just take a look at how they treat Christopher Columbus. I mean,
Alger Hiss was a comment. Let me start with Alger Hiss because it's more recent and people remember it. He says that in 1948, Richard Nixon, who he describes as an ambitious red catcher, led the chase after Alger Hiss, a prominent ex-New Dealer and a distinguished member of the Eastern establishment. Accused of being a communist agent in the 1930s, Hiss demanded the right to defend himself. Now, he goes on and says, he dramatically met the chief accuser, Whittaker Chambers, before the House Un-American Activities Committee in August 1948. Now, catch this. Hiss denied everything, but was caught in embarrassing falsehoods, convicted of perjury in 1950, and sentenced to 5 years in prison. Now, you just can't make that stuff up. Hiss denied everything, but was caught in embarrassing falsehood. Well, the embarrassing falsehoods that he was caught in was that he was a Soviet spy. He was an espionage agent, funneling documents back to the Soviet Union, stealing them from the U.S. and sending them back to the USSR. Now, I guess that's quite an embarrassing falsehood when you think about it. He was indeed convicted of perjury, and he was convicted of perjury because the statute of limitations on the espionage count had run, so he could only be sentenced to 5 years in prison, which I guess was the maximum for perjury. But to describe that as being caught in embarrassing falsehoods, that takes the cake. To describe a Soviet spy that way, and that's typical of the book.
Well, and we're seeing this detrimental impact, and if we don't do something about it, we're already seeing the consequences, Mr. Oliver, where kids are not proud of their country anymore and don't want to serve.
No, that's right, and that's a great shame. My generation, a lot of people went in the Army. Obviously, to some extent, for some people, it was mandatory, but that is all gone. Part of that is a technical reason that the Army, in a sense, doesn't want people who won't stay for 3 or 4 years because they invest so much in training them to be high-tech warriors. But part of it is just that there isn't the sense of obligation to country that I think drove many earlier generations, and that is certainly a shame.
And again, the website, trueamericanhistory.us. Mr. Oliver, we appreciate you. Thank you.
It's all there. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Now, with review and comment on our guest is Cindy from Caldwell. We are in your town. What did you think of Mr. Oliver?
I think Mr. Oliver spoke very accurately and factually about what's happening. Being in Caldwell, I'm also...
I think you called him boring.
No,
Didn't you say he was boring a minute ago off the air?
No, I actually probably missed some of them. The initial thing I do want to say, Kevin Miller, not to be led off track here.
Well, no, I know that on track I was asking you what you thought of the guest. Now we're going on Cindy's track, but I will say this.
Yeah.
I thought he had some good information.
Yes, he did.
However, I think his presentation could have been a little bit more oomph.
Well,
Since you won't go there, I will for you.
Well, he probably... Right. He's not as passionate about things as I probably would have been, but that doesn't say that his content wasn't great. And I do want to thank Caldwell because, Caldwell did receive Fiona at the Caldwell Library a whole set, and she had the board review it, of accurate American history. It was written by Rush Limbaugh. I'm not just supporting him, but he has a whole set of books out there, starting, from the Mayflower to the American Revolution, and it's actually done very beautifully. And I thank Caldwell because the librarian has always been gracious enough to accept materials that I presented or they've got in books that speak to facts.
We appreciate the update on the library in Caldwell this morning. So that's what I get for inviting you on. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm just blessed that this town has been so gracious to some of my suggestions, whether it be at the committee or the library.
Do you run this town? Do you run Caldwell?
I think the mayor, he always accepts, even when it's criticism about many things, and the mayor of this town does a great job.
He takes
in
direction.
getting out there. No, he is able to lead
I'm
this
just saying
town.
he takes direction, right?
Well, not necessarily from me, but he does like other, unlike
Face
other
it, you're
sides.
the real power in Caldwell.
No, but the real, Kevin Miller, you know who my power source is.
Sure.
That's my God. But listen, no, he really does. He's very amenable to listening to all sides of the story, and I think that's great. And he always is a person that will come alongside even varying, I would say, viewpoints.
All right, Cindy, always a pleasure. Phone numbers here, 580-5436, 580-KID. I don't know, what did you, are you running for office? That sounded overly like you were spinning us. You know, usually when you call in, you're one of the unique talents that I have trouble getting a word in edgewise, but here in person, I find you're not your usual chatty self. You're a little shy.
No, I'm just trying to be more tempered.
Oh, well, speak into the microphone so people can hear you.
Are we talking? Are we on the air?
Thank you for paying attention, Cindy. We appreciate it. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. More coming up. We're at the Flying M Coffee Shop here in Caldwell. However, we are taking your calls at 580-5436, 580-KIDO concerning this topic. Well, we'll get to that in a minute, Cindy. Thank you for reminding me I need to plug in the receiver there. We'll try it again. And there we go. Well, it would help if I powered
Legislation already on the books that prohibits the ownership of a wholly plastic gun.
Let's try that again one more time.
The president is glad this effort was delayed to give more time to review the issue, and this administration supports the decades-old legislation already on the books that prohibits the ownership of a wholly plastic gun.
So the big controversy involving whether or not you should be able to download a 3D gun that you can use, virtually untraceable. The government shut down the website, but already 12,000 downloads. And if you really want to get the blueprints, you can get them from overseas internet websites. But at 580-5436, 580-KIDO, are we chasing the economic and Second Amendment boogeyman when we're talking about banning 3D guns? Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. And we're back here at the Flying M Coffee Shop. So you like the clean-cut Kevin Miller look. Is that right?
You are looking great this morning. You
Right.
are just standing tall.
Get
yes.
rid of the long hair and the
Oh,
pussy.
well,
Although you like the facial
I
hair.
liked the beard. I did like the beard because like everybody on Duck Dynasty. No, I like beards. My dad had one, but
Well, I appreciate you let us know that you like beards.
the more
This is-
military look.
This
I
is
like,
what the program has become.
Yes, I like.
Cindy
I like a
reviewing
guy looking
commentary
like a guy.
on facial hair.
Well, I could make some other comments, but Kevin, what is your topic?
That's a very good question, Cindy. Thank you. Let's get to another thing. An Ernest Hemingway story from 1956 is set to be published for the first time. Our own Carmen Roberts reports here on KIDO Talk Radio.
A never-published story by Ernest Hemingway will soon be on the newsstands. The Strand magazine will include the 1956 Hemingway story, A Room on the Garden Side, in its summer edition this week. Like other Hemingway offerings, this fictional story takes place during World War II with his characters drinking and debating about the dirty trade of war. He once referred to his stories of war as a little shocking, but said, "You can always publish them after I'm dead." Carmen Roberts, Fox News.
There we have it, of course, Ernest Hemingway with his big Idaho ties. It'll be, something to see when, in fact, that story is published, just how popular that never-before-seen story of Ernest Hemingway. We're at the Flying M Coffee Shop in Caldwell, getting ready for the Sunny Slope Wine Trail Festival that is this Friday. We'd love you to stop by. We have some tickets to give away. Going to be a great time. We'll hear more about what's going on in Caldwell coming up, plus more of your phone calls at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. And if you'd like to meet our friend Cindy from Caldwell, she is here signing autographs this morning till 9 o'clock. Now, one thing, there are a couple things that happen here every summer. And, right now we're in the 100th deadly days of summer. So far, 65 people have been killed on the roads, which is a tragedy. And when we look at most of these accidents, they could have been avoided if people had just slowed down. And when we say that, it's easier said than done. Yeah, but I've got to get to this meeting. I've got to get to this. And we've been, discussing this new slowpoke law, which I think is not necessary. 2 people that have been ticketed. 3 people have been given warnings in a state of almost 2 million people. Is it really necessary to ticket the slowpokes? How about ticketing the speeders, the tailgaters, the people that don't use their signals, the people from other places that live here but still don't get Idaho plates? How disrespectful can you be? 580-5436, 580-KIDO. And then we have the fire situation. We have the National Interagency Fire Center coordinating fire coverage for the entire country. And yes, it's going to be hot today, another triple-digit temperature. And as we do every summer, and really every winter when it gets really cold, we salute those people that are working in the elements. Whether you're roofing, whether you're putting in carpet, whether you're moving people, whether you're working outside, laying the asphalt, or fighting fires, or first responding. All kidding aside, we appreciate your great work. And today, as in every day in the summer, it is dangerous when we're talking about trying to beat the heat. That's one issue. So if there's someone that you'd like to give a prop to say, hey, thank you very much, 580-5436, 580-KIDO, just to salute them and say, hey, you're doing a great job. Whether you're fighting fires or doing other stuff, we would love to hear from you. And then your thoughts on just the conditions of the Treasure Valley roads and what we can do or can't do to keep ourselves safe. Is this a step in the right direction? Now, at KIDOTalkRadio.com, I wrote a couple pieces this week. One, saying we should be going after the speeders, not the slowpokes. And 2, and I don't want to say crisis, but the challenge with local law enforcement, looking at the fact that with so many people moving in, it's tough to keep everybody in line. And you have Boise looking to hire more officers, Meridian, Nampa, Caldwell, Ada County, Canyon County, all looking to hire more people. And it's tough if you're busting, let's say, Cindy for alleged nefarious activities, to be on the roads corralling speeders if you're trying to fight crime. And that's an issue as well. Again, you're on the roads. I'd love to hear from you next. And coming up, we're going to take a look at a few disturbing situations when it comes to men behaving badly. You've got the situation with Papa John. He's upset. He wants to, what's Papa John without Papa John, right? Well, he's upset. And we have to look at it in tongue-in-cheek. You've got, there are a lot of people from Ohio that have moved to the Treasure Valley. I always like to say, wherever I've lived, people from Ohio, and I don't know what it is about the state of Ohio, but a lot of people move out of the state of Ohio. Well, Kevin, how dare you say that? Well, I was born in Ohio, and I think the motto for the state of Ohio should be Ohio, where all good things come from. So there's a very famous coach who's in trouble for one of his assistants behaving badly. And then you have the chairman of CBS, Les Moonves, who could find himself out because of the Me Too movement. That's coming up between now and Glenn Beck. However, people behaving badly, we'll get your thoughts on that. If you're just tuning in, we'd love to get your thoughts on 2 things. How to stay safe on the roads. Number 1, nonpartisan issue this morning. And number 2, saluting all those people that are in the heat. Now, I'd like to say most of us, and maybe I'm wrong, we work in climate-controlled environments. We kind of do our own thing. We mind our own business. We type on the keyboards. We meet with people, and that's work. And that's stressful, and that's white-collar work. Or we work on computers or something of that nature, right? And then you have people that are out in the elements, day in and day out, fighting fires, building homes, making a difference, right? Making a difference. If you know someone who's doing a good job, I'd love to hear from you. Again, if you're working now, if you're driving, if you're fighting fires, if you're building homes, People don't get an award for doing their job. You know, that's the thing. We don't get a good conduct or a good participation award for doing our jobs, do we? We should. And that's where you come in today. You're listening to Kevin Miller on 107.5 FM, 580 AM, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Maggie.
Good morning, Kevin.
And we continue on taking your phone calls here, KIDO Talk Radio, Kevin Miller in the morning. We're joined by Wisty Rosenthal, Executive Director of Destination Caldwell and the Indian Creek Plaza. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to have you with us here. Actually, it's good to be with you. You know, I'm on the air right now. I did, yes. You saw me at the Nampa. Thank you, sir. God bless. Okay, go Beavers.
You're a famous guy.
Well, you may not know, but I do once a year dress up as a turkey at the Nampa Walmart for the Boise Rescue Mission, and we raise money and help the folks there. And, you know, I don't know if Destination Caldwell would like to adopt it, but it's better to give a turkey than be a turkey.
It is, I'm sure.
And my parents are so proud I identify
yes,
as a
yes.
turkey. But
yeah.
a lot going on in the Treasure Valley. We hear so much about it. Let's talk a little bit about the impact on Caldwell, people moving in, the downtown revitalization, a lot of buzz about Indian Creek.
Right.
You're in the middle of it. What's going on?
So Caldwell is revitalizing, and there is a great vibe here. There's always been wonderful people, and it's been a great community, but now we are gathered together and really revitalizing downtown, which in turn revitalizes our whole community. So we are a 501c3. Destination Caldwell is a 501c3, and our brand mission and promise is to position Caldwell as Idaho's premier gathering place with a focus on locally produced wines through the Sunny Slope Wine Trail and market fresh goods and farm to fork dining. So that is our
farm to fork dining.
Yes.
Explain that to me, please.
Okay, so that would be when it's a huge movement in the agricultural communities to use what's locally produced, to bring that into your community, to use it in restaurants. We encourage restaurants to use locally produced goods. So the Caldwell community has ag everywhere, and it's a wonderful, rich history that we have here. So
sure.
We're bringing that into the community.
What do you make, though, of all the subdivisions going up? Traffic now is an issue. How's the community, how's the business community handling these challenges, albeit good to have?
They are good to have because Caldwell was in the past, in the 40s and 50s, was a community that was growing and vibrant. And then with the advent of shopping malls and those types of things and people moving out of downtowns, it sort of became not as vibrant as it once was.
Sure.
And so I think everybody's pretty excited about the growth. And I think that what we're focusing on is creating Caldwell as a town that people want to live in. They want to work in, they want to bring their businesses to. So we're pretty excited about what's happening, and we want to bring the community together to beautify the community, to bring more businesses. The Sunny Slope Wine Trail, we want to capture those tourists and have them stay here. We have a boutique hotel coming in. So it's a really positive experience for all of us in Caldwell.
You know, so now it's funny because wherever you live, whatever part of the country, I live in such and such, and I don't go out of such and such.
Right.
So for all the people listening right now that, you know, they like my friend Dave Petzo, who believes life begins and ends at the city limits of Boise, and thinks
yes.
that 10 Mile is way out yonder.
Oh, that's the country, yeah.
Right.
The boonies.
Right. So to get away from it all, can you make your pitch on why folks in Boise would like to come out and hang out here?
So folks in Boise, folks in Meridian, folks in Kuna, anywhere would want to come and hang out here. We have a beautiful downtown that's being revitalized. We have local wines, so many local wines that you can purchase and experience. And you don't have to go to California. You don't have to go to Washington to have a wine experience and to have a connection in the community.
Sure.
You can come to Caldwell.
Yeah, you want to jump in here, Bev? We already had your time. You're back for more.
I couldn't help it. I love what you guys are talking about. The cool thing is about not just this renewal of downtown Caldwell, but the wineries out in this area. We're only a 45-minute drive from Boise. That's not that far, considering if you lived anywhere else in the
Now,
world.
hold on. Now, wait a minute. You have the people in Boise. Now, I'm a Star guy, okay?
Okay.
And before that, I'm a Meridian guy. So you have those people in Boise. God bless them, but, it's, they live and die in Boise, and they want to get on the highway. So back to your point.
So my point was, think of it like a staycation. It's a trip out here where you could experience similar type vistas and beautiful tasting rooms that you could in California or in Oregon or in Washington, but you can do it in like 45 minutes. You don't have to hop on a plane. You don't have to drive for 6 to 7 hours to get there. You've got a lot of people who are very nice,
Sure.
who all have wonderful stories to tell you that are a whole lot closer to your home that you don't want to leave.
Right. And to be a part of something that is growing.
It is.
That's true. I think a lot of people talk about there's a loss of community. And one thing that I have seen in the wine industry and what's happening in downtown Caldwell with the revitalization that's happening is there's a lot more civic mindedness that's kind of out of this. The wineries have always banded together because we had to. We wouldn't have survived if we didn't help each other out. And now I am seeing that same community mindset happening in downtown Caldwell because everyone realized, hey, 10, 15 years ago, there wasn't a whole lot to really draw people into downtown Caldwell. And now we have this beautiful Indian Creek Park. We have this new plaza that's out here with a splash pad and a stage, and they're going to have all these events. And now
You've
it's
got
turning
the
into
police
businesses.
department doing the lip sync challenge. That was
awesome.
That was
I
pretty
loved
great.
it.
Yeah.
That is a great reflection of who they are and who Caldwell is. Really,
Yeah.
just inclusive
How
and
approachable
community.
can you be? If you're,
Sure.
that's amazing. So
Yeah.
I'm just tickled pink to see more and more people coming out to my tasting room from Boise that thought, I had no idea you guys were out here and you're so close. The other thing I love seeing, and I don't want to
Now,
disrespect
Bev,
Boise.
hold on now, Bev.
Oh.
Really, tell us what you love seeing because you seem pretty shy
I
to
have
me.
great eyes, and let me tell you, they see everything.
Okay.
So the thing that is really amazing to see is while Boise is the largest population in the state of Idaho, there is a lot of surrounding areas around Boise in the Treasure Valley. I'm seeing people come in from Emmett, from Meridian, from Middleton, from Parma, from Melba.
From Star.
From Star.
That's right, yes.
Because, yes, it's fun to go down to Boise. Boise has a lot of fun things to do.
See, I think going into Boise's a hassle. I would prefer to come out here, and I'm not just pandering to you guys, but again, you want to get away from that. And, I'm a big believer in you kind of just change it up a little so you go do something new. You're not so focused on seeing the same people, and it's only 45 minutes away. So.
It is.
Oh, you can keep going. It's either we hear from you or it's back to me and Cindy, and I think people are tired of that already.
Well, and I want to talk about if you don't drink, it's still a great experience. Come out with your friends, be the designated driver, and come out and experience the wineries and just the culture that we have there.
Sure.
Well, that's amazing. The Trail is a group of wineries, but we have associate members that these are businesses that are within our region that help support us. So it's restaurants and it's tour services, it's farmers markets, things like
Yes.
that. So they are other things that you can do in the area. We have great fishing just a half an hour from here. Like there's so much to do out here that and Caldwell is really kind of that home base to everything. That's why we as the Sunny Slope Wine Trail, the wineries of the trail, have really adopted Caldwell as kind of our partner in a lot of, because they've helped us in so many regards to get marketing out there, to do the festival the last couple of years.
Sure.
It's been amazing.
And we appreciate anything else you two would like to say this hour.
I'd like to say that with the new Indian Creek Plaza, there are many, many weekly events happening that are free to the public. So if you want
And you don't have to live in Caldwell.
You don't have to live in Caldwell. They come from all over.
That's great.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Great job. Great job. We'll probably talk to you coming up next. Well, we've gone from learning about Caldwell and the great things in Idaho to Liberal Steve on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Liberal Steve.
Good morning, Mr. Miller.
Now,
Well,
I
we
thought you were
need-
coming to see us again. Bait and switch, lack of credibility, sir, and you get a demerit for the day.
Well, CS was there when I pulled up, so I turned around and left.
Who?
The Cindy syndrome.
Cindy
the gal that knows
Cindy
everything.
is right here, very upset that you're not here.
Cindy syndrome, I call it. Knows everything about nothing.
Wow.
Anyway, Indian Creek. I think once a week, like on a Wednesday night, should have a band down there, either violin experts or fiddles or folk music and all that stuff to draw people in. And I, as far as grapes, I'm sick of grapes. I'm surrounded by grapes out here. I can sit down the hill and hit Koenig Vineyards, and Pat Ranch is less than half a mile away, and I think they should be growing real food rather than booze food. Like they got grapes going and they got hops going, and it's pathetic. I tell you. Of course, Jesus did change the water to wine, so it must be better for you than water.
Did that make it? That didn't really make any sense, folks. Look, if you're going to sit there and run off at the mouth and say you're coming out and then don't, then just do us all a favor, with all due respect, and don't say you're coming here.
I didn't say I was coming there. I said I'd be there. The show goes till 9 o'clock, right?
Yes.
Then put up or shut up. I'll be there. I got lots of time. I'm only 20 minutes from you right now.
Well, we've only got about an hour left.
Miller.
So,
and
all
are
right,
you buying me
Steve.
a cup of coffee with a shot of wine in it?
Maybe a cup of coffee if you're a good liberal, Steve.
Okay, well, you stay fired up. And Cindy, I didn't mean anything mean like that. I really think you are an important part of society.
Well, you can always talk to Cindy one-on-one. Liberal Steve, thank you. You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. And blessed to be a part of your day, Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. And getting back to some of the issues, by the way, we'd love to hear from you concerning just a variety of issues. Number one being this issue concerning what is and what isn't proper behavior. We've got a lot of stories in the news today concerning men making the bad call at the line of scrimmage, and whether you're the head coach of Ohio State, whether you're the head of CBS, whether you're the head of other organizations like, let's just say, Papa John, a lot of men, getting their comeuppance, and for people that behave appropriately, for people that live by the code, for people that understand there's a right and a wrong, props to you, and then understand the values of traditional America and that live those values and just don't espouse them, and you're not hypocrites. Thank you. And for those people that listen to this program, because we are family friendly, we are a family values show, and we just don't say that in name only, but we try to live that in our personal and professional lives. There are challenges. Pat Buchanan in 92 talked about the cultural war and the war against what we're seeing today of how America was founded compared to how many Americans view it today. So we've got the founder of Papa John, upset that his company gave him the boot and got rid of him from the marketing plan. Now, apparently, the story goes, Papa said some bad things, and I don't know if Papa was recorded or not, but because he said things that were inappropriate, that were unacceptable, Papa got the boot. Let's get the skinny here from Tanya J. Powers on KIDO Talk Radio. That's 107.5 FM and 580 AM.
John Schnatter wants his job back as the public face of Papa John's. In an interview with the Associated Press, he says he believes he can return to TV and radio ads for the pizza chain once the public understands the context of the racist comments he acknowledged making earlier this year. He resigned as chair of the company he founded after Forbes reported last month that he used the N-word during a conference call in May.
Now, before we get to the rest of the story with Tanya J. Powers, you look at Donald Sterling, at one time the owner of the Clippers, who was illegally recorded a issue between not his wife but his girlfriend at the time. She didn't get the payoff she wanted, so she ruined him. And because she ruined him, he had to sell the L.A. Clippers. Now, Papa John admitted to saying a totally inappropriate word, an unacceptable word, and for that, the guy that founded this pizza chain, a guy that did so much is given the boot. In fact, don't tell anybody, but I'm partial to Papa John's. Me too. And people say, well, Kevin, your physique resembles someone who would eat at Papa John's quite a bit. And the Papa John's people know me. They go, okay, there he is, Kevin Miller. You get the usual, and I'm saying yes. In fact, even talking about Papa John's, I'm craving a Papa John's right now. So I walk into Papa John's, and there's Papa looking at me. And I'm going, well, Papa, to sin is human. Should Papa be given the boot? So he gets the boot. He wants to come back, and the board says no. How can you market Papa John's without Papa? 580-5436, 580-KIDO. And have we become so one forward one way that everything is intolerable? More coming up on that in a minute. I mean, he said a bad word. Should that cost him his company?
Schnatter says it was taken out of context, has apologized for using it, and has...
Now, wait a minute. He says when he said the N-word, it was taken out of context. I don't know if that's the proper defense. Maybe he was quoting rap lyrics or something of that nature. Papa should just plead the fifth, but let's continue.
Criticized Papa John's handling of the whole thing. His remarks come as Papa John's quarterly results are due out next week. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
And somebody wants to know the address of the Flying M Coffee Shop. We're right next to Indian Creek Plaza here. And right across from Norman Jewelers in Caldwell, if that helps you out. We continue on here at 580-5436. So there is the Papa story, right? Let's go to Urban Meyer, one of the most successful coaches in college football. And if you listen to anybody on sports radio, what do they say? They say he has to be fired. Here's why.
Coach Urban Meyer has been placed on paid administrative leave by Ohio State while it looks into claims that his wife knew about allegations of abuse against former Buckeyes assistant Zach Smith, who was fired last week. Smith's ex-wife Courtney says she told Shelley Meyer in 2015 that Zach Smith had assaulted her. Courtney Smith says Shelley told her she would tell her husband Urban Meyer, but doesn't know if she ever did. Ohio State is investigating what the coach knew and when, and he could lose his job over it. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
So Urban Meyer has been put on paid leave by Ohio State. And you have a lot of folks in sports media, sports talk radio, they're libs, and they say that he's got to go. It's funny how we jump to conclusions. It's funny how there's no presumption of innocence anymore. Urban Meyer was asked about this last week at Big Ten Media Days, and he said he didn't know anything about it. And then you have text messages, by the way, revealed by Brett McMurphy, an incredible reporter, on Facebook. He just wrote the story on Facebook and detailing text messages between the coach's wife and the alleged accuser's wife at the time. Crazy. So Urban Meyer gets put on paid leave at the drop of a hat. Now, I will tell you this. Earlier in my career, I broke the story about the Duke lacrosse case. Those kids were found to be innocent. I believe that they were guilty. I believe that why would a prosecutor lie? It was a presumption of guilt, not a presumption of innocence. In fact, there were 3 books written about the topic. Have we lost that in America today? I think we have. By the way, thanks to Logan, not to be confused with George or Ray Amaya, we are at 724 Arthur Street in Caldwell. That is the address of where we are right now. Traffic and weather together. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio.
Mr. Pro.
And we will take your phone calls. Coming up, Holly, hang on. Dr. Lamero will join us as well. We're having a great time. Won't you join us? Kevin Miller on 107.5 FM, 580 AM, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning.